speaking about patriotism, speaking about how far the country has come, are we aware of the role in which we're playing in being able to articulate our brand, not only on a domestic front, but rather to the international community? 23 years since the democratic dispensation of South Africa. How far have we come as a country? Have we become more divided as a result of the economic sphere, as a result of the political climate? Or how are we finding ourselves being able to relate with one another as South Africans? This and more will be discussed this morning. And joining us for that discussion is Brand SA Strategic Stakeholder Relations Manager, Toni Gumede. Now, remember to be part of our conversation. The number to dial is 011 447 1742, alternatively 2570. And also do feel free to leave your comments on our Facebook as well as our Twitter pages. Toni, happy Freedom Day. Thanks a lot for joining us on this public holiday.
Thank you for having me on studio.
Now, it's a very interesting place that South Africa finds itself. And I mean, your responsibility as Brand SA is, number one, is the reputation management of this country on a domestic front as well as on an international front. How are we faring? And now this is in light of what's been happening in the news and in what's been happening with the political and economic climate. How are we faring with regards to our reputation as South Africa?
Look, South Africa, Brand South Africa as the agency that is mandated with managing the reputation of the country, we have a lot of unique features as a country that we can be proud of, that Brand South Africa is then able to use to position the country better for global competitiveness. And I think even now we are still able to do that. We use the strengths within the nation brand to position the country.
Okay, let's talk about those strengths, because many people may feel despondent as this time around, you know, and simply because of what's happening with the political climate. Some people may be waking up today and going, I don't actually feel like being South African today. I don't feel like being South African because of the crime. I don't feel like being South African because of the political climate. I don't feel like being South African because technically we're in junk status according to certain ratings agencies. For that individual that is waking up not feeling like being South African, what are the strengths?
I think the strengths, they lie at the backbone of our constitution, and I think today, than any other day, is a timely day to actually be able to speak about that. There's a lot of things we can be proud of. The fruits of freedom, which is part of a campaign that Brand South Africa is running to highlight even during this time that we still have fruits of freedom that are yet to be realized in many parts of the world. So we do have features that we can be proud of regardless of what challenges the country is going through at any point in time. One of the biggest strengths is our institutions, and our institutions are so strong, and they emanate from having a constitutional democracy, whose backbone is the South African Constitution. One of the strengths that we have as a country are the institutions. So, you know, what we often say is, regardless of what is happening, if people still are protected by the rule of law, if my rights are still not infringed upon, if I can still have freedom of expression, if I can still wake up and practice whatever craft based on my talent, we really have more hope than the doom that is sometimes that we feel kind of takes over the space that we are in. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with being able to exercise in this day and age. Right now, we are going through a time where people are able to exercise their freedom to demonstrate. And it's a little bit of a complex situation, because what you want is to have a platform for people to express themselves responsibly, of course. At the same time, you must preserve those rights of those people to voice their opinions, demonstrate, even if it is against any part of what you as the state or any other entity
Perhaps
may
what
feel.
I'm asking really, Toni, is what will make me purchase a South African flag and put it outside my house? We've seen it in many countries where this is done, where the patriotism stands so strong that we don't have to see a South African flag at the embassies in Pretoria, that you can actually put up a South African flag in my home, and I'm actually proud of that flag standing. And so long as we're able to see that flag in our homes and take a hold of the fact that we're South African, then we can say we're actually doing a good job in being patriotic. So what would make me want to purchase that flag?
Okay, I would say we had a little bit of a conversation earlier on about the learners from Chief Albert Luthuli. They are actually proud South Africans on a daily basis, simply because there are many aspects of South Africa, including its people, that are doing great things on a daily basis. that may not always land up in the headlines. We're just talking about how you and I had the opportunity to be schooled, maybe by parents or the education system, on our history and heritage. These ordinary learners take it upon themselves to celebrate and to learn about where we come from. And I think there are many reasons. Our people, our institutions, we have a beautiful people, we have a beautiful country, we have a stable economy, actually. We are still, right now, at the number 25 of attracting FDI. Foreign direct investment. So even during challenging times, we still have a lot to be proud of. We have our stock exchange that is the 19th largest stock exchange in the world. Even during whatever status any rating agency has given us, we have not lost aspects that make this country great.
We're having a conversation, but the people who are on social media, the people who are living this reality of being South African, may be saying something different. So how do you reach out to those people?
Well, one of the great things is that digital platforms of today also allow an extended conversation to be able to take place. And I think it's very important to not lose sight that on a day like this, on Freedom Day, every South African who is able to express themselves is able to do so because of the freedom that was not so free. And I think even the ability to have this conversation and to voice opinions
shows just how free we actually are. And we're going to be taking your calls this morning, of course. So we're going to start off with Mampudi. You're calling in from Durban this morning. Good morning to you, Mampudi. Hello, Mampudi. Can you hear us? Morning, Mampudi. Okay, we seem to be struggling to get a hold of it there, but do try, keep trying. We'll be definitely able to take in some of those comments as they progress this morning. About a few years ago, there was statistics that were done that South Africans would rather identify themselves as belonging to their own ethnic group rather than being South African, and that only those that are who are traveling would identify South Africans. Has that changed? Think about that. I'm going to try to get our caller back in the meantime. Mampudi, do you have us? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Fantastic.
But it's a little bit soft. I can hear you, but I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead. What's your comment?
My comment is that I can see that the country is free, right? But right at the moment, we are facing some serious trouble, like drugs in our locations, you see. So I see black people getting destroyed, you see, from drugs, and some of them, they're not getting full educated. And what is it that we can do as the citizens to clean our place, to make it a clean South Africa, so that we can see that we are free? Because right now we see our president, they're fighting against each other, you see. So now what do we have to vote for, you see? Because if we vote now, we won't be voting for a freedom, you see. We'll be voting for them, you see. At the same time, I don't see us as blacks, we're free from each other. But we are free from the war that our parents used to fight in the 50s, in the 60s, and the 70s, and the 80s, till the 94. So
I definitely take your point, Mampudi, and we're going to give our guests an opportunity to respond before we go on to news. And this is a conversation. This is the reason why we're having this conversation. That's a young South African, in fact, having this conversation, saying we don't even feel free. So do you understand why it's so important for us to marry the ideologies versus what's happening on the ground?
Yes, Faith, I want to firstly maybe attend to the first part. You know, that was it's always a sad part of our reality to have highlighted some of the social ills that we have in this country, as well as, you know, in humanity and the world in general. And I think that is part of where active citizenship comes in. We see the social ills every day, and the South Africa we would like to see, the role that we all have to play belongs to all of us, or not to anyone. We normally say at Brand South Africa that we work with and through stakeholders in order to achieve a certain thing. So there is a role to be played by every South African in making a better South Africa, whether it is standing up against social ills, seeing our young people their lives being destroyed by drugs. We have people who have taken it upon themselves within the civil society space to work against this, and together with corporate as well as government, there's a lot of programs in different communities. But I think what's really most admirable is the work that community members, when communities raise up and hold hands, that is where I think a lot of impact can really be realized. Otherwise, no single stakeholder can be able to achieve the taking away of social ills from communities by themselves.
In other words, the responsibility and the onus really rests on us to make the South Africa a better place.